Yunho stared at his screen and blinked hard. The numbers made no sense. Something big was moving toward the Empire's core worlds, but it should not exist. He had worked at Nexus Prime Monitoring Station for 15 years. He had seen every type of ship the galaxy could make. This was different. The object moved faster than anything he knew. It did not use hyperspace like normal ships. It just moved through regular space at speeds that should be impossible. The energy readings were wrong too. They showed power levels that would need a star to create. "Commander Dalsu," Yunho called to his boss. "You need to see this." Dalsu walked over and looked at the screen. His face went pale. "Run the scan again. The equipment must be broken." Yunho ran the scan 3 more times. The results stayed the same. A massive ship was coming their way. It was bigger than their largest battleships, but moved like a small fighter. The metal it was made from did not match anything in their databases. The database had information on 50,000 different species and their ships. This ship was not in there. "Send an emergency message to Admiral Kiwan," Dalsu said. His voice shook a little. "Tell him we have a code red situation." Admiral Kiwan received the message while he was eating dinner on his flagship. He almost choked on his food when he read it. Kiwan had fought in wars across the galaxy. He had seen strange things before, but this report made no sense. The message said an unknown ship was approaching at impossible speeds. It had technology that did not exist. It was broadcasting signals on frequencies that were only theory. The Empire's best scientists said those frequencies could not be used for real communication. Kiwan called his bridge crew. "Battle stations. Unknown contact approaching. I want every sensor pointed at this thing." His crew ran the scans. The results made them all nervous. The ship was huge but moved with perfect control. It changed direction without slowing down. It accelerated without showing any engine signatures. It was like the laws of physics did not apply to it. Then the impossible happened. The ship sent a message. "This is the KSS Indomitable requesting peaceful passage through your space. We wish to establish diplomatic relations with the Galactic Empire. Please respond when convenient." The message was in perfect Galactic Standard language. Every word was pronounced correctly. The grammar was flawless. But humans had never been contacted before. They were not even supposed to exist outside of old myths and stories. Kiwan looked at his communications officer. "Did we ever send signals toward the human home system?" "No, sir, we never found it. Most people think humans are just stories." The Admiral felt cold. How did this ship know their language so well? How did they know about the Empire? How did they even know they existed? Captain Sujin stood on the bridge of the KSS Indomitable and watched the Imperial ships moving around in panic. Her crew was calm and ready. They had trained for this moment for years. First contact with the Galactic Empire was finally happening. "Navigator Kyungmin, how are we doing on approach?" Sujin asked. "Perfect course, Captain. We should reach the outer defense line in 6 hours. The Imperial ships are trying to form some kind of blockade." Sujin smiled. The Imperial ships moved slowly compared to human technology. Their formations looked impressive but would not stop the Indomitable if needed. She hoped it would not come to that. Humans had come here to make friends, not enemies. Communications Officer Taeyong, send another message. Tell them we appreciate their escort and ask for directions to their capital world. The message went out across Imperial communication channels. Every ship in the fleet received it. The calm, friendly tone made the Imperial officers even more nervous. This unknown ship was not acting like an invasion force. It was acting like tourists asking for directions. Back on Nexus Prime, more data came in about the strange ship. Yunho discovered something that made his head hurt. The ship's hull seemed to change its atomic structure while he watched. Sometimes it looked like normal metal. Other times it looked almost alive. The readings made no scientific sense. "Commander Dalsu, the ship is doing something impossible again." "What now?" "It's healing itself. I detected some micro damage from space dust hits. The hull just fixed itself. The metal flowed back together like liquid but stayed solid." Dalsu sat down hard in his chair. "That's not possible. Metal doesn't heal itself." Admiral Kiwan received reports from across his fleet. Every ship was sending impossible readings. The human vessel seemed to ignore basic physics. It changed course without using thrusters. It accelerated without reaction mass. It communicated on frequencies that should not work. His science officer, Dr. Hai Jin, called from the laboratory ship. Admiral, we need to talk about this contact. The readings we're getting challenge everything we know about technology. Explain it simply, Doctor. Sir, this ship operates on principles we don't understand. It's like they found a way to rewrite the basic rules of how the universe works. Our sensors show it's using gravitational fields as a propulsion system. That should require the power of a small star. Kiwan felt a headache coming on. How powerful are we talking about here? If their one ship can do this, their whole civilization must be incredibly advanced. We might be looking at a species that has mastered forces we can barely detect. The Admiral made a decision that would change galactic history. Instead of ordering an attack, he chose to respond to their peaceful message. Unknown vessel KSS Indomitable. This is Admiral Kiwan of the Imperial Fleet. You are welcome to enter our space under diplomatic protection. We will escort you to the capital world of Galactic Prime. Please maintain your current course and speed. Captain Sujin received the message and nodded to her crew. They seem reasonable. Kyungmin matched their escort speed. Let's not scare them more than we already have. The human ship slowed down to match the Imperial fleet's maximum speed. To the Indomitable, it felt like crawling. To the Imperial ships, it was their fastest pace. The difference showed how far apart the two civilizations were in technological development. As the strange convoy moved toward the Empire's heart, news of the contact spread across thousands of worlds. For the first time in galactic history, a completely unknown species had appeared with technology that made the Empire's best ships look primitive. Emperor Sung Ho received the report in his palace. He read it 3 times before calling an emergency meeting of the Imperial Council. The most powerful empire in the galaxy was about to meet a species that might be even more powerful. The age of human contact had begun. Nothing would ever be the same. Dr. He-jin had not slept in 2 days. The data from the human ship kept getting stranger. Every scan revealed new impossibilities. She led the Empire's best science team, but they could not explain what they were seeing. The ship just did it again, reported her assistant, Dr. Minwoo. It moved sideways without turning. No thruster burns, no gravitational effects we can detect. It just went from one place to another. Yijin rubbed her tired eyes. Show me the energy readings. The screen displayed numbers that hurt to look at. The human ship was using power in ways that violated basic physics. When it moved, space itself seemed to bend around it. When it stopped, the bending stopped too. It was like the ship was telling the universe what to do instead of following universal laws. Contact the Theoretical Physics Department, Hyojin said. Ask them if reality can be temporarily changed. Commander Jinwoo stood in the Imperial War Room studying tactical displays. He was the Empire's best military strategist. He had won battles against impossible odds, but the human ship made him feel helpless. Their defensive capabilities are beyond measurement, he told the War Council. We fired test shots at their request. Our most powerful weapons hit their shields and simply disappeared. Not reflected, not absorbed, disappeared. General Wu Sung leaned forward. What do you mean disappeared? The energy blast hit their shield and stopped existing. Our weapons didn't bounce off or get blocked. They just ceased to be real. The room fell silent. Every officer understood what this meant. If humans could make weapons stop existing, what else could they do? Could they make entire fleets disappear? Could they make planets vanish? Aboard the KSS Indomitable, Engineer Dong Hyun explained their technology to Captain Sujin during their daily briefing. The conversation was routine for them, but would have terrified any Imperial listener. Captain, the gravity drive is running at 15% efficiency. We're keeping our speed low so we don't damage their ships with our wake. Sujin nodded. Good thinking. What about the reality anchors? All stable. We're maintaining local physics within normal parameters. The crew is comfortable and our hull integrity is perfect. Excellent. Any problems with the Imperial escort ships? Their engines are very primitive, but they're trying hard. Engineer Park Jun suggests we could upgrade their propulsion systems if they're interested. Sujin smiled. Humans always wanted to help others improve their technology. It was part of their nature. They had learned long ago that sharing knowledge made everyone stronger. The Imperial Council met an emergency session on Galactic Prime. Counselor Myung paced back and forth as she spoke to the assembled leaders. We must treat this as a potential invasion. One ship with this level of technology could destroy our entire fleet. We should demand they turn around and leave our space immediately. Counselor Jaemin disagreed. Their messages have been completely peaceful. They asked for permission to enter our space. They followed our escort instructions. They even slowed down to match our ship's speed. These are not the actions of invaders. But what if it's a trick? Mi-young argued. What if they're studying our defenses before attacking? Elder Counselor Hyunsu spoke quietly. Everyone listened when he talked. He was old and wise and had seen many wars. In my long life I have seen real threats and false alarms. Real threats do not ask for permission. Real threats do not slow down to be polite. Real threats do not answer questions about their technology. These humans are either the most sophisticated liars in galactic history, or they genuinely want peaceful contact. Meanwhile, Imperial scientists continued studying the impossible readings from the human ship. Dr. Sung Min discovered something that changed everything. The ship's hull isn't made of normal matter, he announced to his research team. It's some kind of programmable material that can become anything the crew needs. Right now it's acting like armor. But I've seen it briefly become transparent, become flexible, even become energy conductive. His colleague, Dr. Ji-un, looked at the data. How is that possible? I think they've learned to control matter at the atomic level in real time. Their ship can literally transform itself into whatever they need. Back on the Indomitable, Navigator Kyungmin worked with her ship's consciousness to plan their approach to Galactic Prime. The ship was not just a machine, it was a partner. Every human vessel had developed its own personality over time. Indomitable, what do you think of our Imperial friends? Kyungmin asked. The ship's voice came through her neural link. They seem frightened but curious. Their technology is simple but well designed. They remind me of how humans were 200 years ago. Should we show them more of our capabilities? I think we should be careful. They're not ready for the full truth about human technology. Let's give them time to adjust to what they've already seen. Kyungmin agreed. Humans had learned patience when dealing with less advanced species. Showing too much too fast could cause panic or despair. Dr. Hai-jin finally made a breakthrough in understanding human technology. She had been studying the ship's energy signatures when she noticed something strange. The energy didn't come from fusion reactors or antimatter plants. It came from empty space itself. They're harvesting zero-point energy, she whispered. They're drawing power directly from the quantum vacuum. Her assistant looked confused. Is that possible? Our theories say yes, but the engineering requirements should be impossible. You would need to manipulate reality at the smallest possible scale while maintaining perfect control. The precision required would be beyond any computer system we know. What He-jin didn't know was that humans didn't use computers for this process. They used their own minds, enhanced by neural interfaces that connected them directly to their ships. Human consciousness and artificial intelligence worked together in ways that made precise control of reality possible. Captain Su-jin received a personal message from Emperor Sung-ho himself. The message was formal but showed genuine curiosity rather than fear. Captain Su-jin of the human vessel Indomitable, I am Emperor Sung-ho of the Galactic Empire. Your arrival has caused great interest throughout our territory. We welcome peaceful contact with your species. I look forward to meeting you in person when you reach our capital. Su-jin was pleased. The Emperor sounded reasonable and intelligent. She composed her reply carefully. Your Majesty Emperor Sung-ho, thank you for your welcome. We are honored to make contact with your great civilization. We bring greetings from Earth and hope to establish lasting friendship between our peoples. We have much to learn from each other. The exchange of messages marked the first formal diplomatic contact between humans and the Galactic Empire. News of the communication spread across thousands of worlds within hours. On the remote planet of Kepler 442b, a mining colony received the news with shock. The colonists had always believed they were alone in dealing with imperial taxation and regulation. Now they learned that an unknown species had appeared with technology that made the empire nervous. On the trading world of New Geneva, merchants wondered what new opportunities might open up with human contact. If humans had such advanced ships, what other products might they create? On the military fortress world of Iron Gate, soldiers trained extra hard. They wanted to be ready if peaceful contact turned into war. As the strange convoy continued toward Galactic Prime, both sides prepared for a meeting that would change galactic history. The Empire prepared its finest diplomats and most impressive ceremonies. The humans prepared simple gifts and honest friendship. Neither side fully understood what was about to happen when the most advanced human technology met the galaxy's largest empire. The universe itself seemed to hold its breath as two civilizations approached each other across the vast darkness of space. Captain Su-jin looked out at the stars and smiled. Humanity's greatest adventure was about to begin. Fleet Admiral Wansik commanded the largest armada in Imperial history. 50,000 warships surrounded the single human vessel in perfect formation. His orders were simple: contain the unknown ship and force it to surrender if it showed any hostile intent. All ships report ready. Admiral, his tactical officer announced. Wansik studied the human ship on his main screen. It looked peaceful enough, but the reports he had read made him nervous. A ship that could ignore physics was a ship that could destroy his entire fleet without effort. Open communication channels to the human vessel, he ordered. Captain Su-jin received the Imperial transmission while sitting in her command chair. She had been expecting this moment. The Empire clearly wanted to show their strength with such a large fleet. She found it rather charming in an old-fashioned way. Human vessel, this is Fleet Admiral Wansik of the Imperial Navy. You are completely surrounded by the finest warships in the galaxy. Surrender immediately or face the consequences. Su-jin looked at her bridge crew and smiled. Communications Officer Tae-young shook his head with amusement. Navigator Kyung-min laughed quietly. Engineer Dong-hyun just rolled his eyes. Admiral Wansik, this is Captain Su-jin of the KSS Indomitable. Thank you for the impressive escort. We accept your offer to guide us to your capital world. Please try to keep up with our speed. The response confused Wansik. The human captain had completely ignored his threat and treated his war fleet like a welcoming committee. Either she was incredibly brave or incredibly stupid. Captain Su-jin, you misunderstand. This is not an escort. This is a blockade. You will surrender your ship or we will open fire. Admiral, we appreciate your concern for our safety, but we really do need to reach your capital on schedule. We'll follow your lead ships and try not to go too fast for your formation. Lieutenant Tae-ho commanded a destroyer on the fleet's outer edge. He watched his instruments in growing alarm as the human ship began to move through the Imperial formation. It didn't ram through or blast through. It simply moved, and somehow the space around it changed to let it pass. Control, this is Destroyer 77 Alpha. The human ship is doing something impossible to our weapons systems. Explain, 77 Alpha. Sir, every time we try to target them, our weapons point somewhere else. It's like space is being twisted around their ship. Our targeting computers can't lock on because the target keeps not being where it should be. The same report came from ships throughout the fleet. The human vessel moved peacefully through their formation, but reality seemed to bend around it. Weapons that should have been pointing at the Indomitable were somehow pointing at empty space or other Imperial ships. Dr. Hye-jin monitored the situation from her science vessel. Her instruments showed the impossible truth. The human ship was making tiny changes to local space-time that redirected all incoming weapons. They weren't using force fields or armor. They were convincing the universe that attacks should go somewhere else. Admiral Wansik, this is Dr. Hye-jin. The human ship isn't blocking our weapons. It's relocating space itself. Every shot we fire ends up in empty space because the space our weapons are traveling through gets moved. Wansik felt a headache coming on. Can you explain that in simple terms, Doctor? Sir, imagine trying to shoot someone who can move the ground under your feet while you're aiming. Except instead of moving ground, they're moving space itself. The Admiral realized his fleet was completely helpless against this technology. The humans could make his weapons useless without firing a shot. They could probably destroy his entire armada if they wanted to. But they hadn't even raised their shields. Diplomatic attaché Su-young was tasked with conducting formal first contact protocols. She had studied every known species and their communication methods. She was ready for linguistic challenges, cultural misunderstandings, and translation difficulties. She was not ready for humans who spoke perfect galactic standard. Captain Su-jin, I am Diplomatic Attaché Su-young of the Imperial Foreign Service. I must conduct standard first contact procedures. How did your species learn our language? Hello, Attaché Su-young. We've been listening to your communications for about 30 years. Your language is quite beautiful when spoken properly. Su-young blinked. You've been listening to our communications, how? We detected your radio signals when we developed interstellar sensors. We spent several years learning your various languages and studying your cultures. We didn't want to be rude when we finally made contact. But our communications are encrypted with quantum security protocols. The encryption is mathematically unbreakable. Captain Sujin's voice carried a note of gentle amusement. Attaché, any code can be broken with enough patience and computing power. We found your encryption quite clever, but not impossible. This revelation sent shockwaves through Imperial intelligence services. Their unbreakable codes had been broken by a species they didn't even know existed. Every secret communication for 30 years might have been intercepted and decoded. Chief Analyst Minseo worked frantically to understand the implications. If humans had been monitoring Imperial communications for decades, they knew everything about the Empire's politics, military strategies, and technological capabilities. They knew which worlds were rebellious, which officials were corrupt, and which planets had valuable resources. But they had used this intelligence only to learn languages and study cultures. They hadn't exploited Imperial weaknesses or sold information to enemies. They had simply prepared themselves to be polite guests. The Indomitable continued its peaceful journey through the Imperial formation. Captain Sujin maintained friendly communication with Admiral Wansik, discussing safe routes and scheduling concerns. She treated the massive warfleet like a traffic control system. Admiral, our navigation computers show some asteroid debris in the next sector. Should we clear it out of the way for your ships? Wansik stared at his communication panel. The human captain was offering to move asteroids to make his fleet's journey easier. The casual tone suggested this was simple courtesy, rather than a display of power. Captain Sujin, how exactly would you clear asteroid debris? Oh, we'd just relocate it somewhere safe. Probably move it into a stable orbit around the local star. It only takes a few minutes. The Admiral decided he didn't want to see humans casually moving asteroids around. His ships could handle some space debris. Emperor Xiongho waited in his throne room for news from the fleet. He had ruled the galaxy for 40 years and had dealt with many crises. But the arrival of humans was unlike anything in Imperial history. His personal advisor, Counselor Young He, brought him updates every hour. Each report was more incredible than the last. Your Majesty, the humans have demonstrated the ability to manipulate space-time in real time. They can make our weapons miss by changing the path their shots travel through. They can move through our formations without resistance. They speak our languages perfectly and have been monitoring our communications for decades. What do they want? The Emperor asked. According to their captain, they want to establish diplomatic relations and offer technological assistance. They claim to have traveled here simply to introduce themselves and see if we need help with anything. Emperor Sung-Ho had ruled through strength and careful politics. The idea of a species arriving with overwhelming power just to offer friendship was outside his experience. Counselor, in your opinion, are they telling the truth about their peaceful intentions? Your Majesty, everything they have done supports their claims. They requested permission to enter our space. They have followed our escort instructions. They have answered all our questions honestly. They have demonstrated incredible power while showing perfect restraint. The Emperor made a decision that would change galactic history. Instead of treating the humans as a threat, he would welcome them as honored guests. Prepare the grand reception hall. If humans have come to offer friendship, we will receive them with the respect due to equals. Captain Sujin received the formal invitation from Emperor Seung-Ho. The message was written in the elaborate style used for diplomatic equals rather than the simple format used for conquered species. Crew, we've been invited to a state dinner with the Emperor himself. Engineer Dong-hyun, prepare our diplomatic gifts. Navigator Kyungmin, plot a course for the Imperial Palace. Communications Officer Tae-young, send our acceptance with appropriate gratitude. The human ship changed course toward the capital world. Behind them, Admiral Wansik's massive fleet followed like an honor guard rather than a blockade. The strangest first contact in galactic history was about to reach its climax. As news spread that humans would meet the Emperor face to face, billions of beings across the galaxy held their breath. Everything was about to change. Imperial researcher Hyunwoo led the Empire's most desperate scientific project. He had been given unlimited resources and the best minds in the galaxy. His mission was simple but seemed impossible. Figure out how human technology worked. We've been studying their ship for weeks, he told Dr. Yoon-jung during their daily meeting. Every test reveals new impossibilities. Their hull material responds to thoughts. Their engines bend space without using any energy we can detect. Their computers seem to predict the future. Dr. Yoon-jung had been observing Captain Sujin through long-range sensors. What she saw challenged everything she knew about technology and biology. Hyunwoo, I think I understand something important. Watch this recording of Captain Soo-jin on her bridge. The holographic display showed the human captain sitting in her command chair. Her eyes were closed, but data flowed across multiple screens around her. Ship systems responded to commands that were never spoken. Course corrections happened before navigation problems appeared. She's not using control panels or voice commands, Yoonjung explained. She's directly connected to her ship's systems through some kind of neural interface. But it's more than that. She's not commanding the ship. She's become part of it. Hyunwoo studied the recording. Are you saying humans can merge their consciousness with their machines? I think that's exactly what I'm saying. Every human crew member shows similar patterns. They don't operate their technology, they bond with it. Their ships aren't vessels, they're partners. This discovery terrified Imperial leadership more than superior weapons would have. A species that could mentally bond with their technology could adapt to any situation instantly. They could upgrade their capabilities just by thinking differently. Security Chief Woo Jin received reports from across the Empire that made his job impossible. News of human contact had spread to every world, and the reactions were getting dangerous. On the mining world of Kepler-7, workers had stopped production and were demanding to know why they had to live in poor conditions when humans had technology that could improve everything. On the agricultural planet of New Eden, farmers wanted to know if humans could help them grow food in the desert regions that the Empire had declared useless. Most worrying were the reports from military worlds. Young officers were asking uncomfortable questions about Imperial superiority. If humans could master the fundamental forces of the universe, why couldn't the Empire? Sir, reported Lieutenant So-hyun during a security briefing, the questions are spreading faster than we can control them. People want to know why we never developed technology like the humans have. Woo Jin had been asking himself the same question. The Empire controlled thousands of species and had access to the best minds in the galaxy, yet they had never achieved anything close to what humans demonstrated daily. Young Imperial officer So-hyun found herself assigned to study human behavior patterns. She was supposed to identify potential threats or weaknesses. Instead, she discovered something that changed her view of everything. During a brief communication exchange, she spoke with human weapons specialist Byung-ho about ship defense systems. The conversation started professionally but became personally enlightening. Specialist Byung-ho, your defensive capabilities seem very advanced. How does your species coordinate military development? Officer So-hyun, we don't really have centralized military development. Each ship's crew works with their vessel to develop whatever capabilities are needed. Military force is just one option among many. But how do you maintain strategic coherence without central command? We share information freely and trust each other to make good decisions. When everyone knows everything, coordination happens naturally. So-hyun was shocked. Humans had reached the stars without empire building or conquest. They had developed incredible technology through cooperation rather than competition. They treated war as a last resort while the Empire treated it as a primary tool. Specialist, may I ask about your government structure? We don't have a single world government, if that's what you mean. Different regions handle things differently. But we all agree on basic principles like sharing knowledge and helping each other improve. The idea that an advanced civilization could function without strict hierarchy was revolutionary to So-hyun. Everything she had been taught about political organization was being challenged by human examples. Intelligence Director Jun Young made a discovery that kept him awake at night. He had been analyzing human ship capabilities and realized a terrifying truth. The KSS Indomitable was not humanity's most advanced vessel. Emperor Sung-ho, he reported during an emergency briefing, our analysis suggests the human ship visiting us is their diplomatic vessel, not their military flagship. Their actual military technology remains on Earth. How can you tell? The Emperor asked. Several clues, Your Majesty. Captain Soo-jin mentioned in casual conversation that the Indomitable was designed for comfort during long journeys. She referred to defense ships and exploration vessels as separate categories. Most telling, she said their most advanced ships rarely leave the solar system because they're too valuable to risk. The Emperor felt cold. If humans had sent their equivalent of a luxury passenger ship and it could casually outperform the Empire's best warships, what could their actual military do? In your assessment, Director, could we successfully fight a war against human military technology? Jun Young took a deep breath. Your Majesty, Based on what we've observed, a war with humans would end before it began. They could probably disable our entire fleet without firing a shot. They might be able to relocate our planets to different orbits if they wanted to. Captain Su-jin continued her peaceful mission, unaware of the panic her ship was causing in Imperial intelligence circles. She spent her days answering questions about human culture and technology. Every answer revealed new capabilities that should have been impossible. "Captain," asked Imperial Science Officer Hwan Sung during one of their regular communication sessions, "how do humans learn to interface directly with your ship systems?" "It's part of our basic education," Su-jin replied casually. "Children start learning neural interface techniques around age 10. By the time they're adults, connecting with technology feels as natural as walking or talking. But doesn't that require surgical implants or genetic modification?" "Oh no, nothing that invasive. Human brains are naturally capable of this kind of connection. We just need to learn how to use abilities we already have. It's like learning to play a musical instrument. The potential is there from birth." This revelation shattered Imperial assumptions about human enhancement. They had assumed such capabilities required dangerous modifications or cybernetic implants. Instead, humans were simply using natural abilities that other species had never discovered. Dr. Yu Jin, the Empire's chief xenobiologist, made the final breakthrough in understanding human advancement. She had been studying human physiology through medical scans Captain Su-jin had provided for diplomatic purposes. "The secret isn't their technology," she announced to the Imperial Science Council. "The secret is their approach to reality itself. Other species, including us, see the universe as something to be conquered or controlled. Humans see it as something to be understood and befriended. Explain that more clearly." "Doctor," requested Council Chairman Dae-jung, "every species we know develops technology to impose their will on physical laws. We build stronger weapons, faster ships, more powerful computers. Humans develop technology to cooperate with physical laws. Instead of fighting against the universe, they learn to work with it. But how does that give them such advanced capabilities? Because the universe responds better to partnership than domination. When you try to force reality to behave differently, it resists. When you learn to work with reality's existing patterns, it helps you achieve things that seemed impossible." This philosophical difference explained everything about human advancement. While other species had spent millions of years fighting against natural limits, humans had spent a few centuries learning to dance with them. Emperor Sung-ho received all these reports in his private study. The accumulated evidence painted a picture that challenged everything he knew about power and progress. Humans had achieved technological godhood not through conquest or competition, but through curiosity and cooperation. They had mastered forces that the Empire couldn't even detect, because they approached problems with humility instead of arrogance. The Emperor realized he faced a choice that would define the future of galactic civilization. He could try to maintain Imperial dominance through force, knowing it would ultimately fail against human capabilities. Or he could learn from human examples and transform the Empire into something better. As he prepared for the formal meeting with Captain Su-jin, Emperor Sung-ho knew that more than diplomacy was at stake. The survival and evolution of galactic civilization hung in the balance. The age of Imperial dominance was ending. The age of cooperative advancement was about to begin. Captain Su-jin stood before the Imperial Senate in the grandest hall on Galactic Prime. Thousands of senators from across the galaxy watched her with mixture of fear, curiosity, and hope. She wore a simple blue uniform that looked plain compared to the elaborate robes around her, but everyone knew she represented the most powerful technology in the galaxy. "Honored senators," she began in perfect galactic standard, "I bring greetings from Earth and humanity. We come not as conquerors or traitors, but as neighbors who wish to share what we have learned." Senator Haewon stood up immediately. She had been the Empire's strongest voice for military action against the human threat. "Captain Su-jin, your ship alone could destroy our entire fleet. What guarantee do we have that more human ships won't arrive to conquer us?" Su-jin smiled gently.
"Senator Haewon, the only guarantee I can offer is our history.
Humans have had the power to conquer many worlds for over a century. We have never done so. We believe that forcing others to submit creates enemies, while helping others to grow creates friends. But why share your technology freely? What do you gain from helping us? We gain neighbors who can grow and learn alongside us. We gain new perspectives that help us see problems we might miss. We gain friends to explore the universe with. What more could anyone want? The simple answer silenced many critics. Human motivations were so different from imperial thinking that senators struggled to find hidden plots or secret agendas. Senator Wu Sung tried a different approach. Captain, your technology could destabilize our entire civilization. If every species suddenly had access to reality manipulation technology, chaos would result. Cultural specialist Min Guk answered this concern. He had been studying imperial history during their journey to the capital. Senator, with respect, your civilization is already destabilizing. Our analysis shows that 17 major species are planning coordinated rebellions within the next 5 years. 23 more show signs of growing unrest. The current system is failing whether we share our technology or not. The revelation stunned the Senate. Imperial intelligence had detected some unrest, but the scope Min Guk described was beyond their worst fears. How could you know this? Demanded Security Senator Dal Soon. We've been monitoring communications and analyzing social patterns. The signs are clear to anyone willing to look. Oppressed peoples always eventually seek freedom. The question is whether that freedom comes through peaceful change or violent revolution. Emperor Sung Ho spoke from his throne. Captain Su Jin, what exactly are you proposing? Your Majesty, we propose sharing our technological insights freely with 2 simple conditions. First, that the Empire commits to peaceful coexistence with all species. Second, that subjugated peoples be given the choice of independence or equal partnership. And if we refuse these conditions, Su Jin's expression remained friendly, but her words carried weight. Then we would respect your decision and return to Earth. But the rebellions will happen anyway, with or without our help. The choice is whether the galaxy transforms peacefully or violently. Imperial Fleet Commander Jun Ho decided to make one final show of Imperial strength. He had been planning this moment for weeks. Without warning, he activated a secret signal that ordered every Imperial warship in the system to target the human vessel. Human ship, you are under arrest for threatening Imperial security. Surrender immediately or face destruction. Captain Su Jin sighed softly. She had hoped this wouldn't be necessary. Commander Junho, please reconsider. No one needs to be hurt today. Fire all weapons, Junho commanded. Across the system, 50,000 Imperial ships fired their most powerful weapons at the single human vessel. Energy beams and projectiles filled space around the KSS Indomitable. Then something impossible happened. Every weapon fired by the Imperial fleet suddenly pointed into empty space. The massive barrage meant to destroy the human ship instead lit up empty regions of the solar system with harmless fireworks. Commander, reported his weapons officer with a shaking voice. Our targeting systems show direct hits, but the enemy ship is completely undamaged. Fire again. The second barrage had the same result. Every shot that should have hit the Indomitable instead traveled through empty space. The human ship hadn't moved, but somehow space itself had been rearranged so that no weapon could reach it. Captain Su Jin's voice came over the communication system, still calm and friendly. Commander Junho, we really don't want to fight, but if you insist on continuing this demonstration, we'll need to take steps to protect everyone involved. Small ships appeared from the Indomitable's docking bays. The Imperial sensors showed these were repair drones, not weapons. The drones spread throughout the Imperial fleet and began fixing the minor damage caused by weapons misfiring due to suddenly redirected targeting. The gesture was unmistakably clear. Humans could have destroyed the entire Imperial fleet, but instead they sent repair ships to fix accidental damage. Commander Junho sat down heavily in his command chair. His demonstration of Imperial power had become a demonstration of Imperial helplessness. Worse, the humans had responded to his attack with kindness. Emperor Seong-ho watched the entire encounter from his palace. The reports coming in painted a clear picture. Humanity possessed power beyond Imperial comprehension, but they used that power to heal rather than harm. The Emperor stood and addressed his Senate with words that would echo through galactic history. Senators, the age of Imperial dominance is ending today, not because we have been conquered, but because we have been shown a better way. I hereby announce the transformation of our empire into the Galactic Cooperative, with humanity as our technological advisors and partners. Senator Mi Young objected strongly. Your Majesty, you cannot simply dissolve the empire. Thousands of years of tradition cannot be abandoned for alien promises. Senator, The Emperor replied, "Thousands of years of tradition have led us to a point where our subjects plan rebellion, and our weapons cannot protect us. It is time to choose evolution over extinction." The transformation began immediately. Dr. Yu Jin led the first joint research teams, combining imperial knowledge with human insights. Within days, they made breakthroughs that had eluded scientists for centuries. "The key," explained human physicist Dr. Sun Ho, "is understanding that consciousness and technology are not separate things. When you connect mind and machine properly, both become more than they were alone." Young Officer So-hyun found herself assigned to one of the integration committees. Her job was helping former imperial territories transition to cooperative governance. The work was challenging but rewarding. "The outer colonies are responding well to the changes," she reported to her supervisor. "When people learned they could have human technological assistance without imperial taxation, support for cooperation increased dramatically." Captain Sujin prepared to return to Earth. Her mission accomplished beyond all expectations. The galaxy was transforming from an empire built on domination to a cooperative built on partnership. It would take years to complete the change, but the foundation had been laid. "Captain," asked Communications Officer Tae Young, "should we report this as a successful first contact?" "Much more than that," Sujin replied. "Report this as the beginning of galactic civilization growing up." Engineer Dong Hyun made final preparations for departure. "Captain, several Imperial scientists have requested permission to visit Earth for advanced training. Should we approve the requests?" "Of course. Learning is always better when shared. Arrange transport for anyone who wants to come. We'll also send teaching teams to help with the transition here." As the KSS Indomitable prepared to leave, thousands of messages poured in from across the galaxy. Species that had been suppressed for centuries were declaring independence and requesting human technological assistance. Former imperial worlds were establishing cooperative governments based on human examples. The transformation wasn't without problems. Some imperial diehards attempted to maintain the old system by force, but their weapons proved useless against human-assisted defenders, and their support collapsed when their own people chose freedom. Dr. Hae-jin published the first joint imperial human research paper, explaining the basic principles of reality manipulation technology. The paper would become the foundation for a new age of scientific advancement. "The secret," she wrote, "is not conquering the universe, but learning to dance with it. When technology serves consciousness rather than controlling it, both become instruments of creation rather than destruction." Captain Sujin's final log entry summarized the mission results. First contact successful. The Galactic Empire has chosen to evolve into something better. They're good people who just needed a reminder that the universe is big enough for everyone to be extraordinary. Returning to Earth with 847 new friends, and unlimited potential for future cooperation. As the human ship disappeared into impossible space, it left behind a galaxy forever changed. The age of conquest was ending. The age of cooperation had begun. Young Officer So-hyun, now serving as a liaison to the new galactic cooperative, watched the Indomitable vanish and realized she was witnessing the birth of a new kind of civilization. One built not on the fear of being conquered, but on the hope of growing together among the stars. The universe itself seemed to approve of the